Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Hey Coach is brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero, real Coke taste, 0 calories. Here is your host, Tom Roberts.
Well, thank you very much. Roll Tide, everybody. Good evening. Glad all of you guys are here. Good to see you. And welcome to a new season of Hey Coach at our brand new home, Bob's Victory Grill at Midtown Village here in Tuscaloosa. The proprietor, Mr. Baumhauer himself, is with us this evening. Always good to see Bob, and he's got us set up pretty well here in his restaurant. The season is here as we're looking on TVs. Texas A&M and South Carolina started it all about 90 minutes ago, and they got a high-scoring affair going up in Columbia. We're less than 2 days from the start of the Alabama football season for 2014. Of course, the opener over in Atlanta. We're headed to the Georgia Dome tomorrow against West Virginia on Saturday. Coach Nick Saban is going to be here in about 30 minutes to talk about the game and his second-ranked Crimson Tide. And, of course, we'll be on the air with all the coverage of the game starting at 11:30 Saturday morning from Atlanta. Now, Alabama soccer opened the sports year for the Crimson Tide last Friday night, beating Kennesaw State. This weekend, the Tide's on the road at Austin Peay in Middle Tennessee. You're going to hear from Todd Bramble in just a few minutes. Bama volleyball also on the road to start the season, playing in a tournament up at St. Louis. More on that in a few minutes. We're going to start with a very special guest, and that's Lars Anderson, a great writer, a terrific one whose new book is out. If you haven't read it, you should. It's The Storm and the Tide, all about the tornado that ripped through Tuscaloosa back in 2011 and the national championship season that followed. So we've got a lot to talk about, including some other information. How about a ticket to the Florida Atlantic game for as little as $35? We got the information on that, too. If you got questions for us, our phone number, the same as usual, 877-202-BAMA. Jessica Weiger is here at the restaurant, and if you want to ask a question here at Bob's Victory Grill, then find Jessica, and we'll get you on the air when the coach gets here. All right, it's time to take our first break. We'll chat with Lars Anderson. Coming up next, this is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Toyota's annual clearance event. This is Jan.
Jan, I need a Toyota. Can I get directions to the dealership from 12th and Main?
Yes. Continue straight for 1.3 miles. Your destination will be on your left.
Nav system. I could use that too.
Toyota's annual clearance event is on now. Hurry in today. Now get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2014 Toyota Tundra. That's 0% APR. Offer valid July 8th through September 2nd, 2014. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every $1,000 finance is $27.78. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Game day brings out the best in all of us. Leadership, teamwork, tradition, spirit. These are the things we love about college athletics. They're also the values that drive the associates at Regions Bank to bring you the products, advice, and financial guidance you need to move life forward. Because at Regions, every day is game day. Regions, official bank of the SEC. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Saturday means football, Crimson Tide football. That means the rumbling roar of Big Al and a Roll Tide that is 100,000 strong. And Bama tradition also means Red Baron pizza with its secret sauce that's zesty but sweet, covered in everyone's favorite toppings for an epic taste that goes great with all the Crimson Tide gridiron action. Alabama Crimson Tide football and Red Baron pizza. Get a taste of the tradition. Red Baron, proud frozen pizza sponsor of Alabama athletics.
Hey, Alabama fans, Academy Sports and Outdoors is the place to go when you need the gear to support your team. Academy is your one-stop shop for Crimson Tide jerseys, t-shirts, caps, novelty items, and more at everyday low prices. Be sure to visit your local Academy store or academy.com to stock up on Crimson Tide gear for the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The right stuff, the low price, every day. Academy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Whatever USA.
Hi, people. Whatever USA is a real town Bud Light is creating this summer, full of stuff that will make you go, what? And no, seriously, what? That's why Bud Light and I want you to join us at Whatever USA. Head to upforwhatever.com and you can find yourself here with me. Take it away, professional voice guy.
Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens. Bud Light Whatever USA video contest open to U.S. residents 21 and over. No purchase necessary. Ends August 31st, 2014. Visit upforwhatever.com for official rules, entry, prizes, and details. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB St. Louis, Missouri.
That's right. Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. The best agents in the business, call Alpha. Joining us here on the stage at Bob's Victory Grill, Lars Anderson. A writer, a professor, a husband. What other titles can we give you?
Well, I just started being a contributor to the SEC Network. I was in Charlotte on Friday, spent some time with Paul, and looking forward to it. Television writing is quite a bit different than magazine writing and book writing, but it's exciting to be a part of a venture that already is in over 90 million homes.
Yeah, 90 million homes and counting, because I'm sure it's going to be more and more. It obviously is something that has caught the country by storm. Let's talk about another storm, though. One that came so scarily close to where we're sitting tonight. That tornado back in 2011. You did a great story, I thought, in SI right after the storm. Was that kind of the basis for the book?
Yeah, the wellspring of the book was the 8-page cover story in Sports Illustrated that came out 2 weeks after the piece was published, or 2 weeks after the storm. And within days of the magazine story, I literally heard from people all around the world, from as far away as Japan, people in Japan who had just endured a tsunami, saying how they could relate with the people of Tuscaloosa. Yeah. And I heard from people all across Europe, South America, Canada, and of course all across the United States. So I knew that piece had touched an emotional nerve for a lot of people across the world, literally. And I knew I wanted to turn it into a book, but I needed time to pass to see how the story ends, and also people needed time to grieve.
Yeah.
To be able to tell their story, they needed to be sort of at a level emotionally where they were ready to share everything. And people like Shannon Brown, who lost his daughter Lauren, and Ashley Mims, Lauren's mom, and Carson, and so many people just poured out to me. Nobody spared anything. And this is my 6th book, and the 20 years of Sports Illustrated, 6 books, this is by far the most important thing of my career, and I don't think it'll ever be matched.
Well, to me, and I've read the book, and I got to tell you, folks, get a box of Kleenex when you start to read it, because it's one of those that it'll have you crying more than once. In fact, it seemed like every other chapter there were tears, because I thought you made it so personal, and you just mentioned Shannon and Ashley, Carson Tinker, the family. You did it with such personal stories, and it was obvious that you sympathized with them, but you were also able to get their stories.
Yeah, I spent about the first half of the book just building up to 5:13 p.m. on April 27, 2011. And as everyone in this room knows, that's when the tornado came to Tuscaloosa. And I want the readers to feel what it's like to be in a house that's being shredded by 190-mile-an-hour winds. And also, what it's like through the eyes of a father and a mother, what it's like to find out that your child was taken by this storm. And I mean, this is big boy and big girl stuff in the book of kissing your child goodbye at a makeshift morgue. And, but there's also a redemptive quality to it, and how Coach Saban and the entire the players, they knew that they were playing for the most important thing that people in the grip of a tragedy need, and that's hope. They need something to look forward to. They need a brightness on the horizon, and that's exactly what Alabama football provided. And again, I think it's not even a sports book. This is a book about life and the resiliency of the spirit of this town.
It is The Storm and the Tide by Lars Anderson. It's available at bookstores everywhere, online at Amazon. If you want it, you can find it. I got to ask you, you spent a lot of time with Coach Saban in writing this book, I would assume. And it seems like the tornado, I know it had a profound effect on him.
Yeah, I believe so. You should ask him when he gets in here. But I certainly think it softened him, softened his hard edges. Miss Terry has said many times that in the days after the tornado. It was the first time that she knew him that he quit thinking about football.
Yeah.
And also just, in speaking with so many people, the day after, April 28th, Coach Saban met his director of football operations at the facility and filled up a truck with water that was left over from the spring game and went into the hardest hit areas. And man, just person after person just crying on his shoulder. And I think and just asking him to, have Alabama do what they do best on Saturdays. Yeah. And I think it rooted him in a community, and it rooted Terry in a community in a way that they hadn't felt before. And so, with all the speculation of Coach Saban going to Texas, I never bought into it. Never. No. And I think you'd have to be sort of local here to understand that this place is different for him. That's my interpretation of it. Again, you should ask Coach that when he gets here.
I think it definitely is. All right. It's a great book. I urge any of you out there to get it and read it. It's an inspiring story. Let's talk about what's about to happen here now, the start of another football season. And I think you've made a prediction over and over again about who's going to start at quarterback.
Yeah, I've been with. I think it's going to be Sims. I know he's one of the most popular players on the team.
Yeah.
And I think just out of a sense of fairness, I think he's going to be the guy. Again, only one person really knows that right now, correct? And I think the schedule affords Alabama the luxury of trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback until the key game obviously is going to be against Florida when Florida rolls into town. And by the way, on the morning of the Florida game, we're going to have a book signing on the quad. So
wonderful.
We're going to have a pretty big event on the quad that morning.
Well, all right, Lars, I thank you for stopping by. I hope we'll get you back sometime during the course of the season as a media guest.
It's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you.
Good deal. Lars Anderson, author of The Storm and the Tide, available at good bookstores everywhere and online. Now, coming up next, we're going to take a look at soccer and volleyball here from head coach Todd Bramble. First of all, though, a quick reminder from our friends at Adobe. Adobe DPS and the Crimson Tide have teamed up to bring you the best mobile app in college football. It's free, easy to download from your app store, and updated for each Alabama game. Just search for Alabama Game Day, the Alabama Game Day app from Adobe DPS, the leader in digital publishing. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
So, who's going to do what? Flashlights?
Nowhere to be found.
Emergency supply kits?
Not packed.
What about blankets?
We have an old towel.
Cell phones?
May not work.
Emergency water?
Not a drop.
Perfect. We all know where we're meeting if we're separated.
The library. On Jones House. The bus stop.
And I'll be waiting here wondering where you all are. Great. It sounds like we don't have a plan.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
On the next episode of Recipes for Disaster.
I'm making beef sliders for my friend Sandy. Nana taught me to always pull meat off the grill early so it's extra juicy.
Use a food thermometer to ensure ground beef is 160 degrees, or you could make people really sick. Sandy didn't think twice about the slider she ate until yoga class, when a nasty case of food poisoning turned her downward-facing dog into upward-moving lunch. Watch Recipes for Disaster at foodsafety.gov and learn the steps Maria unwittingly leaves out. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill at Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa, and to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Let's talk about Alabama soccer, and that sets the stage for our Cooper Tire Performance of the Week presented by Cooper Tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Visit CooperTire.com to find your local Cooper Tires dealer. Over the weekend, Alabama soccer got it all started with a 5-1 victory over Kennesaw, then dropped a tough loss 2-1 to Memphis on Sunday. The performance of the weekend had to go to Haley Broha, a freshman. She scored 2 goals. Then another true freshman, Lacey Clarida, a goal and an assist. And then seniors Pia Reisdijk, a goal and an assist. And Teresa Diedrich, three assists in one game. That's the second most in Alabama history. Had a chance to talk about all of those stars with the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Todd Bramble. Todd Bramble, you open with a big win over Kennesaw State. Put a lot of goals on the board too, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a fun night here at the soccer stadium. We had a good crowd, and the home opener is always something special, and the players were fired up and ready to play, and we came out and jumped on them early and often in the first half and scored 4 goals and had it in cruise control after that. Teresa Diedrich, you knew was going to be a leader, but she had a phenomenal night with the 3 assists. Yeah, I think she's ready, not just personally to have a special year, but she's ready to lead this team, in a new direction and help this team have a special year as well. So we're really happy with the start that she's off to. You had the quick turnaround to take on Memphis, and they came in here rested. And I guess maybe it showed a little bit, but you had so many chances to win that one, didn't you? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we can take from this game from a positive standpoint. The loss, really hurt badly on the night. There's no doubt about that. We had a great opportunity in front of us, given all the circumstances of, having played on Friday. And, Pia Reisdijk was, away for the, funeral for her grandfather. So, that's a key component of our attack. Sure. But on the night, you got to give Memphis a lot of credit, but we will grow tremendously from that game. And I'm not as concerned about the result in the long run. The performance is going to help us. The performance of a couple of freshmen was pretty darn good too over the weekend, wasn't it? Yeah, we saw good contributions this weekend from Haley Brohouse. She was on the score sheet a couple teams on Friday night. Lacey Clarida has she looked really good in the early stages, and we really like what we're getting from AL.com in the center of the midfield as well. You're working hard here at midweek. What does it look like for this weekend as you hit the road to Austin Peay in Middle Tennessee? Well, it's our first road trip, so there's always something, a learning experience, since we have a large group of newcomers on our team that they need to know how we like to operate on the road, what it's like playing away from the comfort of our home field here, and it's hard to win on the road anywhere. So we got 2 games Friday, Sunday, and a hostile environment up at Austin Peay in Middle Tennessee, and we need to just respond the right way to that. You purposely scheduled night games on Sunday. How did that work this past weekend, and you're looking forward to doing it again this time? Yeah, I think, for both teams, it's a big plus for the players coming off of a Friday night game. You wouldn't think it makes much of a difference just 6 hours later, but that rest actually adds up. It makes a tremendous difference, in the players, even psychologically. But then to come back out, the games are always better, it seems like, under the lights than in the middle of the afternoon. It's better for the fans that are having to watch the game. So I think it's just better all the way around. 7 o'clock tomorrow night at Austin Peay, 7 o'clock Sunday night at Middle Tennessee for the Alabama soccer team. You can keep up with them on RollTide.com. Alabama volleyball starting the season this weekend in the Marcia Hamilton Classic at St. Louis University. Tide taking on Northern Iowa and Southeastern Missouri tomorrow. Then Memphis and St. Louis on Saturday, opening of the season for Ed Allen and his Alabama volleyball team. All right, we'll talk about some tickets and how you can get them for, sounds like a ridiculously low price. That's coming up in a moment. Right now, a reminder to be the hero of your tailgate this season. Go to eatatjacks.com to place your order for the ultimate fan fuel. Get your team ready for the big game with Jack's delicious hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried chicken, sides, biscuits, and more. Jack's, now a proud partner of the Crimson Tide. And this is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama is the authorized dealer for Toyota forklifts, the world's #1 forklift manufacturer right here in the USA. Toyota Materials Handling has short and long-term rentals available ranging from 3,000 to 36,000 pounds, and they provide parts and service for any model forklift. Ask Toyota Materials Handling about their no hidden fees guarantee and service loaner program. Call Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama today and speak with their consultants. Call toll-free 866-957-2250 or go online to toyotamaterials.com.
On game day, whether it's on the field or at the tailgate, the best rise to the top. Because when the Crimson Tide are driving to victory, there's no compromise. That's why Ford delivers available EcoBoost engine technology that offers a winning combination of power and efficiency. Just another reason why Ford is America's best-selling brand. Check out F-150, Fusion, Escape, and the all-new Expedition at your local Ford dealer. America's best-selling brand based on 2013 calendar year sales.
Nothing means it's game day like ice-cold Coke Zero, because zero means it's game day.
What about when...
No.
But you don't even know what I was going to say.
Were you going to say zero means it's game day, so therefore nothing means it's game day like Coke Zero?
No, but...
Then it doesn't matter, does it? The refreshing taste of Coke Zero. Zero means it's game day.
Hey, this is Coach Nick Saban. Like you, Coke Zero is a proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. So when you're enjoying the game this season, feel free to crack open a Coke Zero and enjoy that too. Roll Tide.
You're listening to Guy Talk live from the Sport Clips Haircuts locker room. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, boxers or briefs?
Speaking briefly, boxers. Unless you're a boxer, then I go briefs. Next caller.
I want to find my nearest Sport Clips, but I don't want to ask for directions.
Use SportClips.com. It's actually Guy approved. At Sport Clips, you'll get an awesome MVP haircut experience while watching sports on TV. Your head'll glow like a freshly mowed Major League outfield. This has been Guy Talk, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
You're back on Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. And I told you that there's a sale going on right now. The folks at Golden Flake combined with the University of Alabama so that you can buy a limited number of tickets at a price of just $35 for the Alabama-Florida Atlantic game. That, of course, the home opener for the Crimson Tide a week from Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning. That sale's underway now. It's online only. You go to rolltide.com, and you better go between now and midnight tomorrow night. But as I said, the tickets are just $35 a piece for the Alabama-Florida Atlantic game. And while you're there, you can also look around. There are tickets remaining for the Southern Mississippi game on September 13th and the Western Carolina game on November 22nd. Those are $55 each. Now it's time for another round of Crimson Tide Tailgate Trivia, brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. Kind of a trivia question. You know that 8 players were selected in the NFL draft from the University of Alabama. Can you name them? Well, you don't have to worry about it too much because I'm going to name them for you. C.J. Mosley in the first round to the Ravens. Ha-Ha Clinton-Dix in the first to the Green Bay Packers. Cyrus Kwanjo next to go on the second round to the Buffalo Bills. Kevin Norwood came off the board in the fourth to the Seattle Seahawks. Tide had 3 players drafted in the 5th round. Ed Stinson going to the Cardinals. A.J. McCarron to the Bengals, and Vinny Sunseri to the New Orleans Saints. Then defensive lineman Jeffrey Pagan, the final Tide player selected, taken by the Houston Texans in the 6th round of the NFL draft. This Crimson Tide Tailgate Trivia round been brought to you by Red Baron Pizza. Visit tailgateatyourplace.com for great game day ideas and enter for a chance to win $150,000 in prizes. Red Baron, better crust, better pizza. Cecil Hurt making his way to the stage. He's our media guest for tonight. We're going to talk with him coming up next. A reminder of our schedule for Saturday. We're going to be in the air at 11:30. Not from the Georgia Dome. Eli Gold, Chris Stewart, Phil Savage, and I'll be there at 12:30. But at 11:30, Todd Robbins and Tyler Watts have the tough assignment of hosting Around the SEC from Cobalt Restaurant at Orange Beach. They'll be there before and after the game. Our coverage starting, as we said, at 11:30 Saturday morning here on the network. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Before you get in, get going, get gone, you need to get a tire that gets you. We suggest a Cooper tire. After all, Cooper engineers its tires not just for performance, but real-life performance. Because life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
Buy 4 qualifying Cooper tires and get up to a $70 prepaid card by mail. Visit a participating Cooper Tire retailer or CooperTireRebates.com for reward forms and official terms and conditions.
Roll with the tide at University Mall. Spaces are still available for reserved RV parking for the 2014 home game season. Call 205-553-8414 or visit us online at university-mall.com for pricing and more information. Enjoy the convenience of the Tide Ride Shuttle along with great shopping and dining. We're West Alabama's in-place to shop for over 30 years. University Mall.
Toyota's annual clearance event. This is Jan.
Jan, I need a Toyota. Can I get directions to the dealership from 12th and Main?
Yes. Continue straight for 1.3 miles. Your destination will be on your left.
Nav system. I could use that too.
Toyota's annual clearance event is on now. Hurry in today. Now get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2014 Toyota Tundra. That's 0% APR.
Offer valid July 8th through September 2nd, 2014. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every $1,000 finance is $27.78. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Crimson Tide football fans, a limited number of tickets for the home opener against Florida Atlantic are available for only $35. That's thanks to the partnership with the game's title sponsor, Golden Flake. Tickets can be purchased on RollTide.com only, and only from now until midnight tomorrow. Visit RollTide.com for more information or to purchase your tickets now. Hurry, this opportunity won't last long.
Hey, Terry.
Welcome back to Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance. Just shaking hands with Terry Saban. She's here for the Nick Saban Show, which starts in about 3 minutes from now. Also here for that show, our media guest for the week from the Tuscaloosa News, Cecil Hurt. How you doing, Cecil?
Great, Tom. How are you today?
I'm great. Are you ready for a season to start?
I'm ready for a preseason to end.
A preseason to end. I know exactly what you mean.
It gets long, and it gets long for us. Much more so gets long for the players.
Yeah, it gets long for the coaches, too, I would think.
Right.
I had a conversation with an assistant coach who was very frank that, yes, they get very, very tired.
Yeah,
at this
they're
time
just
of
ready
the
to play. They want to see some action, and understandably so, want to test themselves against somebody else. And the last 2 weeks of camp are a bit of a struggle mentally. You're trying to get better, trying to improve, but it's hard not to put yourself in a mind frame where you're just trying to survive till the next practice. And Coach Saban preaches against that. All coaches do. You want to grow from practice, not just survive practice, but it's tough in the middle of August, and particularly with the weather we have been blessed with in the last week.
Isn't it the darn truth? Last weekend for a very, very good example. Well, Cecil Hurt, our media guest, and he'll be along shortly when the coach arrives. Coach Saban joining us right at the top of the hour. You're a guy, you got enough to think about like Alabama football. When you finally notice you need a haircut, you need it right now. So come on in at Sport Clips. You never need an appointment. Visit any of our Alabama area stores and ask for the MVP service. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. You folks here at the restaurant may have noticed we're sitting behind a state-of-the-art digital table. It's provided by Booster Digital Displays, digital products that enhance and raise money for high schools and colleges across the country. Visit their website at www.boosterdisplays.com. Nick Saban Show is next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, fish dad!
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. You see me around the neighborhood?
neighborhood, and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger.
Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help.
Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me. We are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To a single ember from a wildfire, the branches hanging over your roof look like big matchsticks, and the dry leaves and twigs in your gutter are perfect kindling. Some fire hazards aren't clearly marked and can impact your neighbors. Learn to spot them. Your home is better protected from wildfire when your whole community is prepared. Visit fireadapted.org for tips to get started. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Man, last night we put on an epic light show.
So epic.
The crowd loved us.
Wait, there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? Their eyes lit up brighter than ours, and we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
And we're gonna be out here rocking out our light show at a forest near you, so come check us out.
Check us out.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. And by Coke Zero, real Coke taste, 0 calories. Now, with Coach Nick Saban, here's Tom Roberts.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa. Coach Saban just now entering the restaurant here in T-Town. Always delighted to see him for the first show of the year. Cecil Hurt on stage with us as our media guest. Coming up, our first call of the night, brought to you by Alabama 811, reminding you to be safe. Always call 811 before you dig. It's free and it's the law. Call 811. Utility companies will come out and locate and mark buried lines. Head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, joining us live here on the stage and fresh off the practice field. Coach, how you like the new digs here?
It looks good.
Well, we got a bunch of Bama fans in the house. I think they're ready to go, and I think it's probably safe to say that you're ready to get this one started, aren't you?
Well, I hope everybody's excited about this game. It seems like we've been practicing for a long time. I know the players are tired of practicing and looking forward to playing against somebody that wants to beat them and that they have the opportunity to beat. So this is, it's always great in the first game to really see and learn. There's certain things about your team you can never learn until you play a game.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say about it. You can think, we got good players at this position, we got this problem, that problem. But until you go to the game and see how the players actually can overcome adversity and compete when things don't go well in the game. To me, that's the true test of competitive character, is how guys can stay focused and play for 60 minutes in the game. And that's something we didn't do as well down the stretch last year, and hopefully the identity of this team is something that we can get changed a little bit.
Sitting between the two of us, the best sports writer in the state of Alabama. It always sounds like a Cecil Hurt fan club meeting when he comes in, but we're delighted to have Cecil with us tonight. And Cecil, you got the question here.
Well, first of all, I think Cecil deserves a little better round of applause than that.
All right, get going.
And I think the reason being, and I appreciate you doing that for me, because I really do appreciate journalism, which we have a journalist in the house tonight, which a lot of people in the media business now, they just throw out whatever information will stick on the wall and don't really care too much about what they say, who they hurt, and what they do. And I really appreciate somebody that has the professionalism to find out, give facts, good opinions, good feeling about what's going on like Cecil does.
Thank you, Coach. I also get the honor of asking the first question of the year, which being a journalist, I have to ask the questions that people want the answers to. So I'm just curious if you have any big announcements to make tonight. This is the last shot. Nobody else can ask you between now and Saturday.
No,
if there are any.
I really don't have any big announcements. I think I know the announcement that you're looking for.
You got to ask.
But, you know, I really do think that people need to understand that I know everybody wants answers. And everybody wants to have great hope that a certain player is going to be able to do certain things at whatever position it might be. But to be fair to all the players, you know, every player has the opportunity to compete, and somebody has to beat somebody out. I mean, to have credibility with your team, and my job is to play the best players and the guys that have done the best job for this game. Now, that does not mean that it's going to stay that way. It does not mean that if you're the starting pitcher that you're going to pitch for 9 innings. The manager sometimes comes in and takes the guy out. So all these things are options that are available, you know, and I think here's the thing that everybody needs to understand that people don't understand, is we have a guy playing quarterback who has been in the system for a long time and really has a really good understanding, very confident in what he's doing. I know he didn't play very well in the spring game, and that's how a lot of people evaluate him. But he has done very well this fall, and he did very well last spring. And he has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. And we have a newer player who just started 20-some practices ago and who is learning the system for the first time, who's really got to get knowledge of the system so that he can play with confidence and rhythm. And he's a very talented guy, and we're going to continue to work with him and develop him. And we're always going to play the guys that we feel are going to give us the best chance to win.
Just a follow-up on the 9-inning analogy. There'll be situations then where you may make a change that isn't based on one guy not doing well. It's just letting the other guy have a chance.
Well, I think that's certainly a possibility because I think, you know, we have faith, trust, and confidence in Blake Sims. All right? And we're not going to evaluate Blake, and he doesn't have to look over his shoulder while he's playing. But I think that there may be some occasion where the other guy deserves an opportunity at some point in time in this season to show what he can do.
In the best seat in the house tonight, we've got a bunch of Harrises from Childersburg, Alabama. Robbie, Kathy, Diana, and Robert. And, okay, you're going to get to ask the first question.
Roll Tide, Coach.
Roll Tide, how you doing?
I promise no hypothetical question from me. I promise. From spring through the fall camp, which areas of the team have shown the most improvement?
From spring through fall camp, which areas of the team have shown the most improvement? You know, I think that the areas of the team that needed to show the most improvement was probably the offensive line, you know, and quarterback are the two areas on offense that when you have new players and players that you have to replace, there's certainly more of an opportunity for those guys who have less knowledge and experience to be able to gain that and make improvement and become more consistent in their performance. On defense, you know, the defensive front has probably made the most improvement because we have more players, more athletic players, more depth. And I would say that's the area on defense that's made the most improvement. I think the secondary is a little better, but we have a lot of young players that need to add depth to that, and hopefully we won't need for them to play too soon. And I do think we have a really good freshman punter, and I do think that Adam Griffin has had a really good fall camp in terms of kicking. But I'm sure if he misses a kick, God help him.
Yeah. You talked about the young guys in the secondary. You love to coach. Has it been fun for you to coach this fall with some of the talent like Marlon Humphreys and Tony Brown?
Well, you know, let me just say this about this team. This has been a really fun team to coach. You know, we don't have, I don't know if it's because of the way we finished last season and, you know, guys really are sort of buying in and trusting in the training that they're getting so that they can perform well. I really don't know all the reasons why, but we don't have a lot of issues and problems on this team. Guys work hard. We don't have a lot of negative attitudes. We don't have a lot of pouting. I don't see a lot of guys showing a lot of selfish behavior. Guys are working hard trying to support and help each other, and I think that positive energy is sort of contagious, like all attitudes are. And I think it's been helpful, and it really makes this group a fun group to coach. I like to coach all players. Yeah. But, when you have young players that are new players that are really eager to learn, I think it makes it even more challenging, but it's also more fun.
Let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline, and you know who the Alabama 811 first caller is. Every season we hear from Pee Wee in Grand Bay. Roll Tide, Pee Wee. How you doing?
Doing fine, Tom.
Pee Wee, what's going on, buddy?
Ain't a whole lot to it, Coach. Getting ready to head out in the morning, headed to Atlanta. Got a question. When you go to script out your first set of offensive plays, whatever that number may be, besides probably just wanting to see some of how the defense would line up in certain personnel groups and certain settings, but what kind of determines how many plays and what type of plays that you might run for that script?
Well, I think that, we always pretty much know what the other team is going to do, what their defense is, what their scheme is. What you really can't determine is when they're going to pressure, when they're going to give edge pressure, when they can give you a bad play. Hopefully you have it built into your system in terms of whatever play that you call, that you can get out of a bad play when you see it coming, whether the quarterback redirects the protection and or you run the ball to the left instead of the right because they're pressuring on the right or whatever it is. But we usually have always scripted 8 to 10 plays to start the game. Now, that does not count special situations like short yardage or third down. So this is just the script that we want to run. It's the way we practice it. The players know what to expect. And we've done the same thing this year. But, with Lane, he likes to do more plays than that. So he's got about 15 that he wants to run. And I think that's a good thing because it gives you a menu of things that you are presenting to the defense that are different, that they have to adjust to. So there's more multiples rather than getting back into doing the same things from the same formations, which I think at times, has been a little bit of an issue with us. And sometimes when you're pretty good and you're moving the ball, it's easy to fall into that trap. And I think this year it's going to be much more important that we utilize the personnel that we have by formation. We move people around. We're going to try to make it simple for the quarterbacks in this game and probably not do as much shifting and motion that we'd like. But, we know what defense they play. We know how they like to adjust to certain formations. And if we get the looks that we want and we anticipate, we'll run the plays. And if not, we have it built in to get out of them. I think the biggest thing that's different in our offense, if we can get it executed by the quarterbacks by recognition, is we have a lot of built-in run-pass deals. Which I hate negative plays. I hate running bad play. As a defensive coach, you're always trying to give the offense a bad play, trying to get them behind and down and distance. Gives you a better chance to get off the field, stop them on third down, all that kind of stuff. Well, but I hate it when we're on offense that we're not smart enough or don't have it planned well enough that we know something's coming that's going to give us a bad play and we can't get out of the play for whatever reasons or do something to make it not be a negative play. So I think we're a lot better in that regard. But I do think that people are going to have to understand there's a little bit of a new system on offense. We're going to have a new quarterback regardless of who plays. And I think it's going to take a little patience, on a lot of people's part in terms of how this team can grow. Because we have 3 really good runners. I think we have really good receivers. So I think we have a lot of good players. I think the offensive line can be very good. And I think Dominic Jackson and Leon Brown, when they get healthy and get to knowing what they're doing, they're big guys that are very powerful, can make a difference in the offensive line. So I'm not saying it's a work in progress, but I think everybody needs to be patient on how all this develops.
Coach Nick Saban live with us here at Bob's Victory Grill in Midtown. We got more questions for him. If you are sitting there at home, want to ask a question, the telephone number to call is 877-202-BAMA. And by the way, if you're going to the game over at the Georgia Dome, our live sports radios are back this season, and they'll be on sale at Stats Restaurant just by the College Football Hall of Fame. Back with the coach in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
Think it's only a game? You win some, lose some. Just give the old college try. Not around here. Because in Tuscaloosa, winning on the field and the work site isn't everything. It's the only thing. Alabama and the 2014 Ford F-150. This team, this truck will make a believer out of you. For great offers on a new F-150, go to shopfordnow.com or see your local Ford dealer today.
As your Alpha insurance agent, I can help you customize a plan that'll save you money while still protecting your family.
Saving $10, $15, $20 a month makes a big difference for families.
We're able to give you a better product for a better price with better service.
I try to give the customers the kind of service that I want myself.
And that has value. You can't get that online.
We have a great product, a great claim service, and it's a real value buy.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Man in motion is O.J. Howard, the tight end, to the right side. They swing it out on the screen again. Right side, Cooper. Nice block, Howard. Cooper cuts inside the D. 40, 35, 30. He'll cut left. He'll cut right. He's tripped up and put down at the 6-yard line by the defense of Charles Tapper.
Eli Gold, the voice of the Tide. One of those great plays by O.J. Howard last year. One of the reasons why he's a preseason All-American on the SI list at least. Second team. He's going to be a great one. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. Cecil Hurt, the media guest. Cecil, if you had to look into your crystal ball, who do you think will be this year's O.J. Howard?
Well, that's a tough question because last year's O.J. Howard is back. You know, last year's T.J. Yeldon, last year's Amari Cooper, last year's Kenyon Drake, last year's Derrick Henry. They're all back, so I don't know that there's a lot of room for next year's, but we can ask the coach.
Yeah, to me, that's it's going to be great to see how some of these young guys do step forward. Coach, back on the stage with us. Cecil, you get the next question.
Since the lead-in was tight ends, that's a position that's been pretty interesting anyway in terms of you've got Brian Vogler, you've got O.J. Howard, you've got Ty Flournoy-Smith coming in. How has that situation resolved itself in the camp, and how do you, and does Coach Kiffin utilize tight ends any differently in his offense?
Yeah, he really does, and I think what we're trying to do is utilize the players that we have talents. Brian Vogler is a really good athlete who is a very good blocking tight end. He's not a fast vertical guy down the field. There's certainly some things that he's very, very good at, and you want to see the guy do that. And he's probably as good an on-the-line blocking tight end as, anybody has. But at the same time, O.J. Howard's a completely different player in terms of his ability to get down the field, play vertical, become a bigger, stronger guy and a little better blocker. But that's something that we still need to work on with him. But his pass receiving ability is certainly something that can be a weapon for us. And Ty is still learning, but he does have some ability, very good hands, and can play well. And, we moved Dakota Ball to tight end, and he's kind of a really good, tough blocker and athletic guy that can catch the ball as well. Not real fast, but those guys have, sort of helped solidify that position depth-wise a little bit.
We got a bunch of Bama fans here at Bob's Victory Grill, including one toward the back by the pizza ovens, who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Yeah, Coach, my name is Terry Gray from Mississippi, Alabama. Coming out of fall camp, there's a lot of new faces coming in. How do you think they're going to contribute throughout the season this year?
Well, let me just go through, when you say new faces, I'm assuming you're talking about freshmen. Cam Robinson's obviously going to start at left tackle. He's a freshman. He was in spring practice, so that certainly helped his development. We have a couple other freshmen who may end up playing in the offensive line. Pierce Bacher is a guy that probably, could play if he continues to develop and could be in the two deep. I think Cam Robinson can play at receiver. So those guys are probably the freshmen on offense that have, the best opportunity to play right now. Of course, Robert Foster's a newcomer that was redshirted last year. So, he'll play as well, and so will our Darius Stewart. Those guys are young guys that were redshirted last year that are now going to be players. On defense, the two junior college guys that we have, Petway and Jaron Reed are, add athleticism up front. I think, what are the new guys? Sean Dion Hamilton will play as a backup linebacker. Reuben Foster is going to start in the game. Reggie Ragland's going to start in the game. Tony Smith will probably play on special teams in the backup corner, and Marlon Humphrey is probably going to be in the same role, as the season goes on. Deshaun Hand will play for us up front. Who else? Josh Frazier will probably play some. Maybe not as much in this game. We have two types of defensive linemen now. All right, we have 13 defensive linemen going on this trip, which is more than we've ever had. But you need to have the multiples of players up front because the game is so different. So you need smaller, more athletic, faster guys to play against the speedball teams who spread you out, run a lot of screens, which is certainly what we're going to see in this game. And then when you play Arkansas and LSU and some of the downhill running teams, you need Brandon Ivory and Josh Frazier and Darren Lake and guys like that playing those guard who they can't really single block. So those guys don't have a big role in this game because they can't run around and do the things that the other guys can do. So I think the added depth there and the type of players that we have up front is going to be beneficial to us as well.
All right, let's get to our first question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com, and it's in connection with some of those young guys on defense. Carson in Irondale says, who do you feel is the biggest vocal leader you have on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, this team has been a little bit different. We have a leadership group of 15 guys that are juniors and seniors mostly that probably provide the most leadership. And they all contribute in their own way. And we don't really have one guy that is sort of the dominant alpha personality that everybody sort of follows and, which is good and bad.
Yeah.
When we had a guy like Rolando McClain, whatever he said, everybody did. When we had Rohan Davey at LSU, he's the other guy that whatever he said, everybody did. Well, but the problem is when that guy gets a headache, then everybody has a headache. So when you have more leadership, and I actually do believe on this team, we have less guys that need to be led. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yeah.
I always say, sheep need a sheepdog to get them in the barn at night, and that's a lead dog. Well, hopefully we don't have sheep that need to get led as much. And I think that's always your goal as a coach. But I've really been pleased with the leadership group on our team, not really just one player who is a dominating leader that everybody rallies around, but more everybody trying to contribute as older players to help the younger players to trust and buy into the things that will help them be successful.
All right, back to the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline. We're going to Pell City where Chris is on the line. Roll Tide, Chris.
Roll Tide. How are y'all doing?
Good, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing good, Coach. Hey, I just had a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. Well, actually, just but I was wondering about the situation. You're going to run off the running back.
Chris?
Yeah.
All right.
We really can't understand you, Chris.
Well, slow down just a little bit and try one more time.
Okay, can you hear me a little bit better?
Yeah, speak right into that telephone.
All right. Coach, I was wondering, Saturday against West Virginia, if you guys were going to run all the running backs, get their feet wet, or are you going to, do 50-50? And I'll hang up and listen and roll tide.
Well, when you say all the running backs, are you talking about 3? Or, we have 5 or 6. I think we have 3 that have all played and showed that they sort of have the capabilities of making a contribution to the team by the way they play. Being, Derrick Henry and, T.J. Yeldon and Kenyon Drake. So, and all 3 of those guys have roles, and all 3 of those guys will play in the game. And I think that's one of the things that we're doing a better job of is utilizing the talents of those guys in different ways so that they can all contribute to the team.
On Monday, somebody asked you about growing up in West Virginia, and you talked about Jerry West. You saw him when you were a kid, saw him playing at West Virginia. How great was he as a Mountaineer?
He was great. I mean, I saw Hot Rod Hundley, too. I didn't think anybody knew who he was.
That's a pretty good one, too, Coach.
It went Hot Rod Hundley, Jerry West, and Rod Thorne. They had All-Americans like 3 years in a row when I was a kid. I mean, I'm talking about a little kid. And I used to go to the arena, and there was an upper deck.
Yeah.
And I used to hang my feet over the rail and look through the rails, and that's how I could see the game. I'd sit on the floor and look through the rails.
And you listened to him win the national championship.
Well, they didn't win.
Okay.
Emhoff made a shot, 71-70. I still remember.
Oh, one of those heartbreakers. All right, well, we're at the half hour. We're going to take a break right now and pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Do game day right with the latest innovations from LG. From the kitchen to the living room, LG has you covered. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG. It's all possible with LG. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Looking for the ultimate tire for your performance luxury touring vehicle? Look no further than the new Ventus S1 Noble 2 from Hankook Tire. Packed with the latest design and compounding elements focused on maximizing efficient water evacuation, providing impressive wet handling and braking, increasing cornering grip, and improving winter condition traction. The Ventus S1 Noble 2 is the ideal balance of all-season and ultra-high performance. To see more of the Ventus S1 Noble 2, visit USA Tires in Decatur. Be one with it. Hankook Tires.
Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Hey, buddy! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility. Cold hard fact. When it comes to Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, remember, 21 means 21. Coors Light reminds you, with great beer comes great responsibility.
The tide will be rolling soon, but if you haven't gotten your Bama Banking Visa check card, you're not really ready for kickoff. Bama Banking, exclusively from BBVA Compass, is the perfect way to show your pride in the tide. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama. Bama builds champions. At BBVA Compass, you can be a champion too by sporting one of our limited edition Bama Banking check cards. Sign up for Bama Banking and show your pride every time you use your check card. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama.
Crimson Tide football fans, a limited number of tickets for the home opener against Florida Atlantic are available for only $35. That's thanks to the partnership with the game's title sponsor, Golden Flake. tickets can be purchased on RollTide.com only, and only from now until midnight tomorrow. Visit RollTide.com for more information or to purchase your tickets now. Hurry, this opportunity won't last long.
Shotgun for A.J. Looks left, loads up, throws near side, caught neatly by DeAndrew White. Gets away from the defender. It's a foot race. 30, 20, 15. He's caught from behind and put down at the 10-yard line.
Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in Midtown Village here in Tuscaloosa. Our media guest, Cecil Hurt. And Cecil, we just heard the catch and run made by DeAndrew White. This group of receivers, and of course Amari Cooper's at the top of everybody's list, pretty strong.
It is, and there are some guys that I'm looking forward to seeing who hadn't gotten a lot of runs so far in their careers. But guys like Chris Black, Robert Foster, Raheem Falcons, some of the names that it'll be interesting to see when they get on the field.
Coach Saban rejoining us here on the stage at Bob's Victory Grill. And Cecil, you get the first question of this half hour.
Coach, you talked about some of the defensive personnel, defensive formations that will be dictated by what West Virginia does offensively. Could you go into a little bit more detail of what exactly that is in terms of what you've seen, or Alabama fans have seen in the SEC? Who are they similar to?
Well, I think that probably the team that West Virginia is most similar to is Texas A&M in terms of a lot of spread formations. You know, they play some 4 wideouts, but they play a lot of 3 wideouts with 2 small fast backs, and one of those guys will go in motion one way or the other to make 4 wideouts, which creates adjustments. And they will play 3 wideouts, a tight end and a back, which is a lot like we see from a lot of teams. But this whole tree of coaches is really Oklahoma State, Texas A&M, and Texas Tech. You know, if you've watched them on TV, that's kind of, you know, what this team does. They throw a lot of screens, have a lot of run-pass options in terms of what they do. If you have more guys in the box than they can block, they're going to spit the ball out and throw it outside on a slant, a bubble pass, or sometimes even down the field. They don't check a lot. It's just all built in. So you really just have to do a good job of playing and covering because you're not going to trick them much.
A&M, by the way, on TV in the first SEC game of the season, leading South Carolina 38-14. They're midway the third quarter in Columbia. I see a young lady with the microphone here at Bob's Victory Grill. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Hi, Tom. I'm Karen Shaw from here in Tuscaloosa. And Coach Saban, first of all, I want to say I work at the law school next door, and I'm also an undergraduate student finishing up my degree in journalism. So I was happy to hear you say that you appreciate good journalism, because I aspire to be a good journalist one day. And I emulate, or try to, after the things that Cecil writes, because I really like his writing. So my question is, I heard over the summer that you did an interview with someone, and they asked you what you were afraid of, and you said you were afraid of Santa Claus when you were a little boy. Can you tell us about that?
I never told that. I got told that, and it was the truth, so I couldn't lie about it. But, you know, my grandpa, Conaway, which is my mother's maiden name, would not let us open presents until midnight on Christmas Eve. So the whole family would get together, the kids would all play, and everybody wanted to open presents, and we've all had these experiences, I'm sure. But then Santa Claus would come. And I was always afraid of Santa Claus when I was little. I mean, I just was afraid of Santa Claus, like, where'd this guy come from? And I believed in Santa Claus, but I was also afraid of Santa Claus. So I must admit that that is very true. And I don't know why, but now I feel like sometimes I'm Santa Claus, especially when Christmas comes, which I enjoy that even more.
Well, and you're now a grandpa. And by the way, I got to throw in something here. On last Friday, Martha and I celebrated the birth of a grandson, Charles Alston Keith,
Well, congratulations.
Well, and congratulations to you in the offseason. You became a granddad. Kind of fun, isn't it?
Well, I love it. I know Miss Terry loves it too. But, you know, you go through all these stations in your life. And, you know, I think about when our kids were little and how quickly they grew up and how quickly they're gone.
Yeah.
And now you go through these sort of lonely years, empty nest type of years, and now you have grandchildren, which makes it even, you know, a lot of fun again. So,
yeah, it's good all the way around. All right, let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline of Roswell, Georgia. We're headed in his direction on tomorrow. Harold's on the line. Roll Tide, Harold.
Roll Tide, Tom. How's it going, Coach? Hey, Coach. How you
good,
doing?
Harold. How
Roll
are
Tide. Another year. Unbelievable. This season comes around so fast. Coach, I'd like to talk about the offensive line. We have some new players coming aboard. Could you tell us how the players are looking so far, the new names are coming aboard in the offensive line?
Right. Well, we have, you know, 3 starters coming back. You know, Shep is the right tackle. You know, the center's back, and R.E., the left guard. So we have 3 starters coming back. We got a new left tackle. Cam Robinson's going to start there right now. Leon Brown could play there. He was injured and missed 2 or 3 weeks of, you know, camp. So he's just getting back into being able to go full tilt at everything. Dominic Jackson is a guy that we recruited. He practiced, got hurt in the first scrimmage. Was a very promising player. Thought he would be a starter someplace. Very powerful guy. That sort of set back his development a little bit. So he's back now, but probably not quite ready to play in this game. But Shank at right guard, Alphonse Taylor, has done a really good job, and he'll be the starter there, so he's a new player. So the combination of the starting 5 that I talked about and the Leon Brown and Dominic Jackson, Grant Hill, those 8 guys are probably our best, you know, guys to put in there in some combination. And we'll see how it goes with the group that we have, and we're going to try to play the best players to give us the best opportunity to be the best team.
Next question from the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com. Robbie down in Orange Beach wants to know how the team's doing is from a conditioning standpoint. Do you feel like they're in better shape than they might have been last season?
Well, I've really been pleased with the way this team has worked and the conditioning level of this team. It has really, really been hot lately. So my biggest concern was, you know, how would this team recover, you know, for the first game? So we actually have practiced inside about the last 3 or 4 days to try to keep them out of the heat so that we could get the practice reps in but not wear them out too much because of the heat. But I don't think conditioning is going to be a problem in this game. It could be a problem for some players on defense because these guys are going to go as fast as the officials will let them go. They will go as fast as they can go. And I don't care. You cannot practice for that in practice because the scout team can't go that fast. So the only way that you can do it is go against your offense, which we've had segments every day in practice to try to prepare our players for this in practice.
Another lady who's here at Bob's Victory Grill holding the microphone right now. What's your name and what would you like to ask the coach?
I'm Linda Ward from Birmingham, and I wondered if, Coach, if you still have some family in West Virginia, and if so, will they be coming to the game?
Yeah, we have lots of family in West Virginia, and we have lots of people coming to the game. And how many?
A bunch.
250. I don't know who they're going to be rooting for. They're coming to the game.
And they all wanted tickets, didn't
And I
they?
know where they're getting their tickets.
All right, you're going against a 3-3 defense. How big a difference does that make in the way you run your offense, Coach?
You know, I think that it's a little bit of a unique defense, and it's certainly a good defense to stunt and blitz out of. But I also think that you know, we have a good plan against it. It's in certain formations it's going to be very similar to our defense 3-4. But what they do is they just push the linebackers over and stack them and then bring the safety down weak. So that makes a 3-3 stack, you know, a lot of the times. But you know, anytime you play a 3-down line and you have 4 linebackers, there's more multiples that you have to block on defense in terms of pressures. So that's the biggest challenge, I think. But they do a good job with this defense, and it's been a successful defensive scheme. I just think that the most important thing is if you can see where the pressures are coming from, get a hat on a hat. There are some soft spots in there where you can run the ball.
Back to the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline. We'll go to Hartsville where Joe's on the line. Joe, Roll Tide, how you doing on this Thursday evening?
Oh, I'm great, Tom. Roll Tide, everybody. I got a quick comment and a question for Coach, but I think there's another person, Coach, you need to recognize on that stage. That would be Mr. Tom Roberts.
Who's that? I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joe talked right into the telephone. We're having a hard time understanding you.
They told me I was good, Tom. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think there's a guy on that stage you need to recognize tonight would be Mr. Tom Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
He is the grandfather of the Sports Network, and I think everybody in the audience ought to stand up and give him a big hand.
All right, let's give Tom Roberts a big hand. Everybody ready? We got it.
Joe,
thanks. He does do a fantastic job, and he's done it for a long time, and we certainly do appreciate it.
Joe, the check's in the mail.
How many years, Tom?
Well, I appreciate that. You got a quick question for the coach?
Yes, sir. Is Nudie back this year, Coach?
Justin Fowler?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's playing fullback, H-back, and a little bit of tailback. But he does have a significant role on the team, and he's doing really well. So he's healthy and doing really well.
Alston Fowler back. The coach is here with us. We've got a few more questions for him, but we have one final break to take. We're here live at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa. It pays to be a Crimson Tide fan with Best Western of Alabama. Whether you're traveling for work or play, get up to 20% off rates and a chance to win a $100 travel card this fall. Visit bestwesternalabama.com/Roll Tide. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plotto and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey, the dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Here now the give. Derrick Henry, big hole, left side, great three. He's going to go 30, 20, 15, right sideline, 10, 5, touchdown, 43 yards. Derrick Henry, as Bama's going to try and claw right back into this ball game.
Derrick Henry, a great running back for the Crimson Tide. That obviously Eli Gold, the voice of the Tide, calling the action. Welcome back to the Nick Saban Show, presented by Alpha Insurance. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. We're live at Bob's Victory Grill in By the way, folks, here at Bob's, if you want to ask a question, Jessica's standing in the back, and the next question we have here gets this $50 gift card from University Mall. So the coach is back with us on the stage, and I think there is a lady back at the back who has the microphone. And if you do, then tell us who you are and where you're from, and come on up here and get this gift card from University Mall. All right, go for it.
Hi, Coach. My name is Reese. I'm from Tuscaloosa. And I was just wondering, this is your 5th time in 8 years opening up the season at a neutral site. How much benefit does that give the team?
Well, you know, I think it depends on the team, in all honesty. And I think that most of these games that we've played on the road in a neutral site have been very beneficial to our team. I think a couple things. When you play a good team early in the season and in an opening game, I think your whole off-season, summer conditioning program, fall camp, the players look forward to playing a game like that a lot more, so they get more ready for the season, which I think is a huge advantage. You know, the disadvantage is you're playing a better team, so if you don't play well, you know, you might not get the outcome that you really hope for, want to, or get started in the season like you want. Sometimes when you have a team where, like if you think back to when we had A.J. and Phillip Sims, you know, we played Kent State the first game of the season. So we could actually use that game to play both quarterbacks so that we could see who sort of developed and who was most ready to play. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both, but I think our players really do look forward to playing in these games. And we're looking forward to playing in Dallas the next couple of years as well.
It's always nice, too, especially at this hot time of the year, to play inside. And to me, the Georgia Dome is one of those great facilities, Coach.
Great venue, great competitive venue. I mean, some of my best memories as a coach between SEC championship games and, you know, these Chick-fil-A bowl games that we play in early in the year. You know, I think the biggest thing that, you know, sort of ignited this program here is when we played Clemson over there. Yep. You know, what was that, the second year that we were here? And, you know, sort of they were 9th in the country, and we weren't even rated, I don't think, and sort of dominated the game. And that gave a lot of people a lot of confidence and really created an identity for the program that, you know, has probably sustained the success through the years.
Cecil Hurd, our media guest for the week. Jump in here if you got a question.
I was just, again, wanting to follow up. You do have, we had talked about this earlier this week, you do have a new offensive coordinator. He's going to be on the field. How will that be different for you, having the offensive coordinator next to you, and which assistants are going to be up in the booth offensively?
Well, you know, it makes no difference to me where they are because my whole game sort of goes through the headset. I mean, whether the guy's in the press box or on the sidelines, I mean, my communication with Kirby is not, I don't walk up and start talking to him like we're on a street corner. I mean, I might be on the other end of the bench or talking to the offensive line, but I'm talking to Kirby, you know, on the phone about what happened on defense on the last series and vice versa. So my whole conversation goes through communication of the headset. So whether the guy's on the field or not on the field, the biggest reason to have a guy on the field is how he affects the players. You know, everybody's heard the story about Belichick making me go on the field, and I didn't want to. I'd always called the defenses in the press box. He said, you're the guy that has the most effect on the players. You install with them, you present to them, they listen to you. You can make the adjustments with any or all of them. You affect them more. You got to go on the field. And he was right. And we've always had offensive coordinators here who like to be in the box. We always had a strong personality on the field, so I thought that was okay. I think that, you know, Lane does the same thing. You know, he's a pro guy, so he presents to the players and coaches all the players more than a lot of college coordinators just coach their position. You know, and they have everybody else coach the stuff. They coordinate the defense and call the defenses, but in pro ball, the coordinator is really involved. So Lane's like that too. So I just decided after the last scrimmage, he needs to be on the sidelines. He'll have a greater impact with the quarterbacks and the skill players and be able to help those guys anticipate what's coming next. You know, you can always tell the guys, you can say, look, next third down we get, we're playing whoever we're playing. I remember doing this when we were playing, you know, Bledsoe in New England in the playoffs. I said, we're going to do this next third down. Well, everybody knows this is what's going to happen the next third down. So I won't tell you the rest of it if you sack the quarterback. But
we have one more fan here at Bob's Victory Grill who wants to ask a question. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Hi. It is me, right? Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
you're on.
Okay. I'm Lori Bryan. I'm from Citronelle, Alabama. For those of you who don't know where Citronelle is, it's a small town north of Mobile, Alabama. Roll Tide. Nick, although it is a regular season game, how does the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic compare to some of the other neutral site venues, bowl games you've participated in over the years?
Well, you know, the two that we've had the most experience, we played in Jacksonville, we played in the Chick-fil-A in Atlanta, and we played in Dallas. And, you know, all three of those are great venues. But for us, you know, it's great to play in Atlanta. The Chick-fil-A people do a marvelous job, right, in terms of their hospitality. Atlanta's a great city for us and our program. It's 3 hours away. We have a lot of players on our team from that area. They all look forward to going back there and playing. So even though they're all great venues, we really, you know, it's special for us to be able to go to Atlanta and play in a Chick-fil-A.
And it'd be kind of nice to be back there in December for the SEC championship game.
Well, and I think that's a sort of an indirect sort of benefit of all this, that if you play in this game in Atlanta and you go back and play in the SEC game, I think our players have played 7 or 8 games in Atlanta, you know, in the 7 years that we've been here. You know, in 4 or 5 of these games and, you know, a couple, 3 championship games, I don't know. So, you know, it's good to kind of get the experience there.
All right, Cecil, you get the last question of the night for the coach.
Coach, last year at this time, there had been so much attention given to the 3 championships in a row, whether you wanted to call it defending the championship. There was so much attention around the program, and that's always the case at Alabama, but it seemed like last year that was really the focus point. Has there been less of that sort of clutter in this preseason, and has it been a better atmosphere to coach in?
Well, you know, somebody made the analogy the other day is, are you going to focus on the tree or are you going to focus on the shadow? And I think what that means is the shadow is all those external factors, what other people think, what they say, what the expectations are. How does that affect you? Rather than the tree itself is really the body of work that you do, the identity that you make, you know, the real things that you do every day in trying to make the team what it is. I'm talking about all the players, all the coaches, everybody involved in the organization. So I do think that last year was very, very difficult for the players when it came to, I think everything became about winning the game, which, you know, to me makes it very, very difficult to have fun. It puts a lot of anxiety and pressure on people because we always talk about guys trying to dominate their position, you know, dominate your space. You know, do it for 60 minutes in the game, do it for every play in the game. The scoreboard doesn't matter. Well, when you try to say that, and all you hear about is you got to win the 3rd national championship in a row, and to do it, you got to win every game, that goes right out the window. So some kind of way you lose the identity that really created you to be what you were. And the other thing is the dynamics internally on your team between the young guys and the old guys change. Because when Julio Jones and Mark Ingram and all those guys came in here, they came here to create a dynasty. They came here to make something special out of Alabama football. Once that gets created, people come here to shine in it.
Yeah.
They don't really come here to, so we have to take their culture and change it so that they become the kind of competitors and think the way you have to think to be able to have this kind of success on a consistent basis and not get overcome by the external factors and the anxiety and the pressure that, you know, can be a problem for some guys.
Cecil, thanks for being here. Coach, you'll always get the final word presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, you know, we had a guy named Eric Thomas that talked to our team, and a lot of you may follow the guy online. He's a big online guy, and you probably heard me say this before, but, you know, this statement is probably the most true statement that anybody has made. He said to the team, he said, you know, I've talked to 5 teams. I asked every team, what do you want to do this year? They said, we want to be number 1. We want to be number 1. Every team wants to be number 1, whether they were 3-8 last year, 11-2 last year, won a championship. We want to be number 1. Nobody wants to be number 3. Nobody wants to be number 5. Everybody wants to be number 1. So he puts this big tiger up on the board. Not on the board, I mean on our big screen in our team room.
Yeah.
And he says, it says, the beast. Everybody wants to be the beast until you have to do what the beast do. So what's that mean? I think everybody kind of gets it, don't you? Everybody wants to be number one. Everybody wants to be the best. Everybody has high goals and aspirations for what they want to accomplish and what they want to do. Not everybody's willing to do the things you have to do it. So that's the challenge of this year's team. That's the challenge of every team. You know, do you have the competitive character on your team, the spirit and the support that everybody needs to buy into what you need to do so that you can be the best that you can be? And it's everybody's individual responsibilities. It's our fans, not to get overcome by expectations, but create a spirit for the players that will help them do that. Have the patience to let them develop in doing that and support them. Everything that we talk about on our team that helps our team are all positive things. Not guys judging other people, not guys being negative, not pouting about what happened, but being positive and supportive to help people get better. And if we could just go back to that and not worry about where we're going to end up, because the way we ended up like you wanted to, that's how we did it then. And I told you when I stayed here that we were staying here and starting a new program. So let's start a new program the same way we started the last one, by doing these kinds of things that are going to help us be the best that we can be and not get overcome with the expectations that everybody has about winning championships. Let's do the things we have to do to win championships, then we might have a chance to do it. And that starts in this game on Saturday night.
Coach, thanks for being here. Roll Tide. See you in Atlanta.
All right, thank you.
We're going to come back, wrap things up in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. Warm fleece on a cool day. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
I'm a volunteer at United Way. I'm asking people around the neighborhood what they think this place needs.
Wi-Fi everywhere.
More playgrounds.
Oh, more ice cream trucks.
I was thinking more money in the pockets of local families come tax time.
Can I change my answer?
I was just kidding about the ice cream.
When it comes to getting better tax refunds into the hands of local families, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org. Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Well, it's just sort of.
Hello, Dad.
Susan? Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and maybe see some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
That does it for this Thursday evening edition of Hey Coach. Join us Saturday morning at 11:30 from the Georgia Dome. Until then, roll Tide, everybody.
Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this has been Hey Coach, presented by Alpha. For the best agents in the business, call Alpha. Also brought to you by Coke Zero. Real Coke taste, 0 calories. Bud Light, the perfect beer when you're up for whatever. Your Alabama Ford dealers. Alabama Saturdays, built Ford tough. And by Golden Flake, the official chip of the Crimson Tide. The preceding has been a presentation of the Crimson Tide Sports Network, a property of Learfield Sports.